My name is Toto Saito. We were assigned to Block 36 upon our arrival to Topaz in September of 1942. Our address was Barrack 6, Block 36, Unit C and D. James Wakasa was our neighbor in Barrack 7. I remember him because he had a dog and he was a nice man. We ate at the same mess hall and we used the same latrine. And I remember the evening he was murdered. It was April 11th, 1943. The trauma of that experience has lasted my entire life, to my age 88 today.
My uncle, 8 years old at the time, may have been one of the last people to see Mr. Wakasa walking his dog that tragic day. My uncle and his friends often saw Mr. Wakasa walking his dog, but on this day, minutes after walking by Mr. Wakasa, my uncle did not see, but became frightened at the sound of a gunshot and ran back to the family barrack. My grandmother took my uncle to the funeral memorial service held on April 19th, 1943. My young uncle was deeply traumatized by the murder of Mr. Wakasa and had nightmares for many nights afterward. Yuri Miyagawa.
Could anything be more important than preserving the history of those deemed disposable?
Physical remains tell a story. Learning that story can initiate caring.
My name is Ronald Keno, and I was an internee at Topaz internment camp. I am the only living witness to the killing of James Wakasa. This despicable act of violence and racism should never be eliminated from history.
The James Wakasa story and memorial stone remains one of the most powerful chapters of Japanese-American wartime protest and mourning. Its preservation and place in public history deserves the highest respect from a team that combines Topaz Museum personnel, Japanese-American camp descendants, archaeologists, and educators dedicated to Japanese-American wartime historic preservation.
What happened to James Wakasa is a hugely important part of the incarceration story that absolutely must be preserved.
This is beyond covering up history. This is erasing forever our history.
I believe museums should respect the wishes of the local communities on which they depend and serve.
The Wakasa Memorial Stone doesn't just represent Mr. Wakasa. It represents the entire Japanese-American community that fought and continues to fight the unjust treatment of anyone considered an other. It is vitally important that this piece of history is not buried again.
What happened was atrocious. A memorial is a reminder to learn from our mistakes and to remember the unjust suffering that was inflicted upon others. We must not and cannot stand idly by while this happens again.
Let's atone for our mistakes, not hide them, and allow our fellows and descendants to benefit from such knowledge.
The story of America's concentration camps and the imprisonment of Americans of Japanese descent has become little more than a footnote in history. Future generations need to understand that racism and fascism are part of the nation's history.
This is our legacy. When one of our voices is silenced, it impacts all of our stories. We must never forget and never repeat this horrific part of American history.
When I imagine the Topaz community laying a stone for James Wakasa, I imagine their rage, their grief, their commitment to never forget what had been done, their promise to shield and guard the memory. I imagine them burying the stone with protective love. I imagine them setting the stone knowing that the descendants of Topaz would return to find it, that it would speak to them for the unspeakable, for the things beyond words. The stone and the history and memory that it carries should have been left to the stewardship of the descendants of Topaz. They have been robbed of the opportunity to receive whatever message was buried with it, to hear and speak and to act accordingly for the healing of the community. The stone was not a mere object, it was a sacred cry to remember and a precious heirloom of agency and resistance. While the forced removal cannot be undone, what happens next will mean so much for the descendants of Topaz. I wish for them to have the chance to restore dignity to the stone and to process together the grief of Wakasa's murder towards their healing. Star Sumie Miyata.